Okay, it is 5:19 p.m. Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. And I recently as in today, was looking at old interviews that I gave to some friends, and I just decided to write some more questions, and I don't know what this will turn into, if anything, but I just want to answer them myself because I just feel like I have a lot in my head that I would like to get out right now. Okay, number one, are you content with your lifestyle? Um, I'd say yes and no, but I guess the reason that that's question number one is because right now I'm feeling a lot more no. And I really believe that, like, everything ties into each other. Like, I can't just start doing one thing or stop doing one thing and expect everything to be perfect. Um, I've been victim to that mindset before, and it was, I guess, devastating at first, but I, I quickly just turned it into a lesson learned. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I'm just like everyone else. I focus so much more on the things that I'm not content with about my lifestyle. And I remember so often that I'm just an animal and I am predictable and I am prey to all manipulation tactics that society, I don't know, produces for us. I just mean advertisements and being a consumer and blah, 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 blah. Um, I very often retreat to escape in some form. I guess primarily alcohol, but I also find a lot of pleasure in that. It's not purely escape. I take my breaks. I do things differently, but makes it easier for sure. And then it makes it harder as well. Um in a much bigger way though, I just feel a little bit unsatisfied. And I wake up every morning and I mean for a while now, I've just been happy. I've been really truly happy. I feel content with the structure, I guess, or I guess the foundation, more accurately, of how I've set up my life to be. And I don't really believe in like accomplishments or success. To me, it's all just like, things you've done. I rarely look in the past. I'm trying to think if that's entirely true. I think about the future all the time. That noise was just my cats playing with each other. Um, I think about the future all the time, and then the present second most, but future is absolutely what I think of the most. Past is not so much. If I find myself like scrolling back through my photos, it's primarily just to try and find something, which is why I have so many fucking photos. But I was even just 30 minutes ago looking back at my photos trying to find something, and I saw my room in a different way. And I was like, damn, I totally forgot that my room used to look like that. And I never, ever, ever go into my room and think like, wow, remember when my room was like that? When I had it organized in a different way? Never, ever, ever do I do that in the present. Even like looking at those photos, I will definitely forget about it super soon, that I even witnessed that. I don't know. I'm always either in the present or in the future. And I'd like to be in the present more. I'd like to balance it more with my thoughts about the future. A lot of that is fear-based. I'm very aware of that. But I know that I want certain things, and those things are not tangible. I can't write them out. I can't speak them. I could attempt to, and I could probably get kind of close, but they're more like feelings, I guess. Things that I strive for, and I succeed in that every day, but I don't know. I just feel I know when I'm not maybe going at the pace that I would like to go at. And I don't mean like faster or slower. I think I just mean like maybe I do a little bit, but I think it's mainly, you know, maybe it's pace, maybe it's sidetracked. I get distracted very easily. I think I'm a very observant person. Um and intentionally I try to be. I feel like I move my head around a lot like a kid or a dog. And sometimes I'm self-conscious that that can be like rude, looking at people or different things, but I don't know, I take it all in, but before I get too distracted, again, um coming back to the main question, am I content with my lifestyle? Yes and no. Yes and no. I know I'd like to do things. I'd like to do more things like this, more things with using my mind, I guess, liberating my mind, being creative more consistently, not for a product, not for even for creation. I don't need to output anything. The only thing that I really strive for is just keep the gears turning, keep my head thinking. It's hard for me to learn things, honestly, I think. Um, when it involves memorization and stuff like that, but like I'm a very good thinker. I know that, and that's what I think ultimately what I'd like to center my lifestyle around more. And I god damn it, I think all the time. I think too much like everyone else, but I don't mean thinking in like a critical way necessarily. I mean thinking just like the liberation of my mind, I guess. Am I content with my lifestyle? Yes, mostly. Things that I know that there are things I can improve on. Um Again, only for myself. I don't believe in like accomplishments or success in the way of like tangible things, money or units created or whatever. It's all just for myself. So I'm happy. And even if I have moments of dissatisfaction, and even if those are like much more than I would like them to be, I'm still happy. And I know that based on my own judgment, I'm doing things right then. Okay, next question. What do I want in the future? I'd like a house. I'd like to be married. I'd like a child. I'd like to not have to think about money. I'd like a routine that allows for spontaneity, and I'm not like a explosive spontaneous person. Spontaneity for me is like deciding to learn about something new for the day. It's not about like, let's go to Valley Fair right now. Let's fucking, I don't know. I feel like the Valley Fair one was a fine example. Or let me spend like, $200 and buy a plane ticket and fucking just go somewhere for a weekend. It's like that doesn't bring me satisfaction because I'm just a homebody and I don't really like being stimulated that much. I feel like I can get overstimulated pretty easily. Um so my future is relaxing and calm and safe and secure and full of love. Like trust and just love that you can rely on. That's what my future looks like. And I know it will happen. I have the foundation set up for that. I've been working on these things my whole life, whether I knew it or not. So I know it'll happen. Next question. How much of your day is spent on an electronic device? Too much. Maybe, damn, I don't know. Maybe half. I'm thankful that I work at a job that I don't have to do that and I get to interact with people, but that's also exhausting. So when I come home, I just want to not do anything and, you know, watch my videos or, yeah, mostly just watch my videos. It's tough. We live in a very, very, very exhausting world. Yeah, too much. Too much. But then again, I'm not kicking myself for it. Like I'm just a human. I'm susceptible to giving in to the easy things and I work fucking hard and I at everything I do, I do it with care. So obviously that's going to be more exhausting. Yes, like on paper I'd like to exercise more, read more, stimulate my mind in those ways, but it's fucking hard to find that motivation, especially when like I'm not just like I'm not a vegetable. I'm not a couch potato, like not doing anything ever. I'm moving all the time. I love my bike. I love being outside, camping, you know. But it's hard to sit down. It's hard for me to set goals with like rigid steps, I guess, Like it's hard for me to discipline myself, I guess. In ways that like in ways that won't harm me. Like if I try and discipline myself for something that's, elective, like I just want to tell myself I can do it. I don't I'm not good at that at all. If it doesn't affect my or anyone else's well-being, if I do it or not, it's so easy for me to just not do it. And I know that's true for many people too, especially just with the pace of the world that we are living in right now. So, yeah. Back to the question. I don't think that, yeah, I'm not like mean to myself about being on my phone or computer or tablet, but more than I would like. I'm on my electronic devices more than I'd like. Next question. Am I scared of the future? Um, I'd say short answer yes. Less to do with like people or society fucking going up in flames. Climate change, obviously, right after this lack of winter. Um, I'm just scared of the future because the future is unknown, and I don't feel calm or safe when I don't have anything to hold on to. That's why I'm a plan driven person. Um, I'm not spontaneous in that way. Sometimes I think it'd be cool if I could loosen up a little bit, but overall, like, I don't think it's a huge issue. But yeah, the future does scare me. I'm also excited for it. I'm always excited for the future, and to see what happens. I think it's also because I spend so much time like planning for the future that I'm also scared of it. Because if I try and plan for it to make myself not scared, then like what happens if that plan if things don't go according to that plan? Well, I know what happens. I hyper focus on the wrong and the bad things perceived by me, I mean. And yeah, it's just not realistic, I guess. Not as realistic as I could be. But I'm thankful I remind myself to try and, you know, stay calm and grounded and blah blah blah. Be in the present. I remind myself of those things, and like even if I don't always succeed in immediately getting right back to it, I'm still thinking about it. It's still like on my radar. There's still a lot of fear inside of me, but I'm learning how to exist with it. I don't know if I'll ever live a life without fear. It's a pretty primal emotion, mindset. I think fear can be good for from a survival standpoint. You know, it wasn't until a few years ago that I realized I was so scared of heights. Like to the point where it's like it's like vertigo. Like I tunnel vision, vertigo, heart starts going crazy. Like I can't really function if I'm at like a state park or a national park or something. It's tough. Fear like that, I wish I had less of it, but I know it's there for a reason. And it's strange, like getting older. I'm 27 right now. I'm still young, I know, but I'm not young. I'm not old by any means, but I'm older than a lot of people that I don't know can determine how the world works to some degree. So I'm right in that majority of life period where we're all just adults. We're not young, we're not old, but we're always getting older, and that's not a bad thing. But the older I get, though, I at least at this stage of my life, and I hope and I assume that it will lighten up a bit again. But the last couple of years have been spent of me being a lot more cautious, a lot less vocal. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say submissive, but like parts of it are submissive. But either way, a lot of that is just because it's like realizing, um, I don't know, just how fucking brutal like the world can be. I don't mean evil. I just mean like what the realities of life really are. What is realistic and what isn't. I've learned to observe even more, and I've always been a huge observer. Um, Taking my time. I take my time with everything. I'm a pretty slow person, in getting things done. I mean, but I do my things meticulously and with care. So trade-offs, I guess. But yeah, am I scared of the future? Yes. Am I excited for the future? Yes. Do I have a choice about the future? No. So that's another thing that I think about. To remind myself like I don't have a choice either way, so I might as well try and come to terms with it. Next question is, are you scared of dying? Yes, for sure. Am I scared of the idea of death? No. Like, it's similar to the future, I guess. They could go hand in hand. Um, I mean, the future is death, you know? Like, my life as I know it, the future's future. At the very end of my life in this body will be death. That'll be the last thing that I know in this experience. But yeah, I mean, I am so I can't say certain because I don't know it to be fact, but I have just 100% faith that there's something bigger that I will return to. I think it's a return. I don't think it's a new place. Um, and that's not based on anything other than just intuition. Like, of course, my intuition was crafted by my lived experience to this point, but yeah, I don't know. Something inside of me tells me that I'll be a lot more. I feel like the place I will return to is without fear or stress or anxiety. And I think when I return to that place, I will realize how the things that I deem negative in this life, like the things I just listed, won't be negative at all. I think they'll just be neutral because they were just experiences. The gift of having a body and a mind and senses and being in this, big playground that is the world or the earth. Um, yeah, but because I'm in this body right now, I'm still scared of dying. And I think that's pretty normal and natural. I'm still an animal. I still want to remain alive. I still have those moments, the fight or flight instinct, adrenaline, whatever, because I'm an animal. So I want to remain alive. Dying, yes, I am scared. Death, I'm timid. Like, it's kind of like nervous to think about because it's like, bigger than the fucking universe, even. But no, no, I'm not scared of that. Next question. Is being alive a choice? Yes. We are, maybe we're like the only animals that can like kill themselves. I don't actually know if other animals can kill themselves, but like we're the most capable of doing that because we can think so much, and people do it every day, and they've done it every day forever, and they'll do it every day forevermore. And rest in peace to all those people. Rest in peace to anyone who has ever died. Um, Being alive is a choice. It may not feel like it, like it may feel like just suffering constantly, but I feel like that's just being mostly, if someone is stuck in like the washing machine of the human made world, you know, jobs and consuming and capitalism and just like the fucking excess of everything that's like unnatural, like literally unnatural. They're stuck in that washing machine, just tumbling, being pummeled. Like, yeah, it might feel like living's not a choice, but if you pull back, like, yeah, being alive is a choice, I believe. And I also think that it's a gift. It is the most precious, impossible to recreate gift. Well, I mean, we can create it with our bodies, just reproducing, but like it's just like the magic inside of us that allows us to do that. Computers can't do that. They'll never be able to. There's this human touch that is just so impossible to replicate. And no matter how far we go in technology, there's just no way of ever being able to, like, a synthetic human touch will not exist. Or I mean, it will exist, and we'll be able to suss out what is true and what isn't. I don't mean that in a purist way, not any positive, negative sort of way. I just mean like a human being will almost always be able to tell when it's like an interaction with another human being instead of something that was just like crafted by advancements in technology or whatever. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Something that will always be true. Next question is, how often do you reflect on your actions? Very often. Not like a debilitating amount, but yeah, very often. But I think I'm able to just accept, like, I don't really have regrets. If I fuck up, then I fucked up and I own it, but I move on quickly, and I'm happy that I'm able to do that. I've worked towards that for sure. Um, but yeah, I reflect on many, many things, the actions of others as well, in less of a judgment way and more of just like a remembering. Maybe I do think about the past more than I thought, but it's usually like the immediate past, within the last day or week, or I don't know, anything that like um determines what my current state of being is like, I can reflect on. I don't like jump in the past and like yearn for it constantly. Although I would say like I think I am a nostalgic person, but I think the older I get, the less nostalgic I am, as strange as that is. But I spend much of my time just literally staring out windows, laying on my couch or my bed or my sitting in my chair, looking at my kitties, just reflecting. I think it's just like processing life and yeah, really just processing. Reflecting to me is just processing everything. That's why it's so hard for me to do things, honestly. Like to be motivated to do things because I just take life like so seriously for what it is. And overall, I think that's a very positive thing. I love that about myself. But like it can lead me to feel like I don't have much motivation to like do other things. I have a lot of it, of course, but like not like other people. I see other people do things quickly and I wish I could do things more quick too, but I just need so much time to process. And I don't mind it. It's just like a observation like Jesus Christ, I can't do this just a little bit faster in a kind way. Always with love to myself. Um but yeah, I reflect on my actions a lot in less of a judgmental way and less of like a regret way or even like pat myself on the back way. Um it's mostly just processing. Next question is, are you judgmental? Yes, because I'm a human and I have a brain, and my brain categorizes things faster than any computer ever could for my well-being and how I interact with the world. And yeah, that's judgment immediately. Do I try and combat my judgment all the time? Yes, I also do that. And that is a difficult thing, because it's constant, it's all the fucking time, especially when I see actions that I deem selfish or ugly or rude. um, I'm judgmental, and my mindset is then mean. And excuse me, I don't think that that's a bad thing either, but it can be really hard. It can be hard to not allow your actions to be fueled by that judgment, and even combating that can be hard too, because you can push too hard the opposite way, and be overly nice or overly sympathetic because you don't want to be too judgmental. And that can be good or bad. Most of the time it's just neutral, like nothing comes of it, but it could be a detriment to you if you go too hard the other way too. But I also hope that that gets easier with time, because I find it to be um, pretty consuming and pretty frequent, being judgmental. I'm gonna include these next two questions, in what I was kind of just saying too. The next two are, how often are you angry? How often are you annoyed? And I think they follow the same kind of thing. Um, I'm actually not angry almost ever. I let things breathe and I give things. I'm a fucking stoic. Like, can control. I know that I can only control what's in my immediate capabilities. I can't control other people's actions. And anger for me is, it's more of it's a later stage than something like judgment. I guess, like, to when, because I'm including these together, it kind of, the process is like, or hypothetical process is like judgment, irritation, and then anger. So anger is the one I don't reach that often because it's the last one. And I often find that, being angry is just a waste of time. And I don't think that any time spent being alive is a waste. Um, I refuse to believe that, and so I never will. But just to use the expression, it's like, it's never something that I prefer, even if I let myself get to that point. Um, like, I don't know, someone would have to do me wrong for me to be angry. Someone would have to do something. Someone would have to wrong someone I care about for me to be angry, for me to, like, retaliate. Anger to me kind of coincides with retaliation, like an active desire to, uh, I don't want to say harm necessarily, but just like get back at someone. It doesn't have to, but it could. That's kind of how I think about it in my head. But annoyance is like, I feel annoyed all the time, all the fucking time, way too much. So often in the car, just like everyone else, like cussing people out, not shouting, but just like, it's like, and it's so selfish. I know that is so selfish. It's so hard not to be, though, just annoyed with other people. But that's just living in a city, living around so many other people all the time. And I think like, like Minneapolis or Twin Cities, just Minnesota in general, is like that medium size where like it's not Chicago or New York where there's like so many people that you very quickly just kind of learn to get over it, but there's not like nobody where you don't have to interact with people that often. It's like, man, I've thought about this a lot actually, but the idea that Minneapolis, Twin Cities, St. Paul is like, it's like just big enough to be big. The parameters are like the perfect breeding grounds for um I don't know, like passive aggressive and lashing out and just like reckless behavior that's very selfish, and you can't really see. I don't know. And I only live here, so I only have my own bias and experience, but I guess that's just like a hypothesis. But I'm annoyed far more than I'd like to be. Um, and that is something to meditate on. Next question is, how often are you happy? I'm also happy very often. The older I become, the happier I am. And I think that's terrific. I couldn't ask for anything more than that. I think happiness is my baseline, and to me happy is content. It's not smiling all the time. It's not like laughing till you're crying all the time. It's just content, being satisfied. I guess just like with where your life is at, and the looser hold I have on things, the happier I feel like I'm allowed to become. And it's hard to remove control. It's hard to loosen the grip on the reins. I don't want to like white knuckle it. I don't want to die on any sort of hill like that. It's easy for me to give up to the will of the world, I guess. And I think that's also something I've worked towards, but also because of what I was taught and how I was raised, by my parents and peers, I guess. But yeah, I wake up every morning, and when I look at my life, like I wrote about this recently, but when I think about, does it make sense that I'm happy? Like 2 plus 2, does it equal 4? And the answer is yes. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean, like waking up every morning happy. I don't wake up and I don't wake up to the first alarm and stretch big and tall and look out my window and say, "Good morning, world." Excuse me. Drink my coffee with a smile on my face, read my paper. No, I don't do that. My mornings are very slow. It takes a long time for me actually to come back from my dreams. Some mornings are like, it takes me fucking half an hour to like realize I'm awake. I'm not like in a trance, obviously. I'm just like, so hard for me emotionally to come back from dreams. And my dreams aren't traumatic, they're just strange. Dreams are just another reality. I mean, it's an experience that I, like everyone else, like lives through. It gives me emotions, it lets me process things. It's like the background refreshing. And I mean, most mornings lately, I'm, hungover, at least a little bit. Not terribly, but I like to drink, and yeah, I don't know. That's just where I'm at right now. I've obviously dissected my relationship with alcohol intensely over the last few years. But yeah, I'm also happy very often. Next question, is the world going downhill? No, but I'm realizing that the older I get, the easier it is to feel that way. So I empathize a lot more with, generations before, being upset at the youth. But I remember I made a promise to myself in 2020 that I would never ever disregard the young people, and I'd like to hold that true. Um, I think that we'll just need respect. I do think that young kids need respect for older people, but I don't mean inherently. I don't mean like Sonny Boy, you better show some respect to this old racist man, like full of hatred and I don't know, just like a bigot. But I just mean like, damn, getting older is the next question too. What is it like to get older? I guess I'll just kind of start talking about that too. But it's so strange because I'm able just to like think back on how much I've lived and how much I've changed. Um, it's like, I have never known what it's like to be 27 years old until I am 27 years old. It's the same with 28. It's the same with 60. It's like you are always, the longest you have ever lived is always like the exact moment that you're talking about or that you're talking in. It's like, it's so weird. The corridor just gets longer and longer, and it can be really disorienting. But I've learned that any person older than me, and I guess I'll just talk like generation. I don't mean like, oh, you're like a month older than me, you must know so much more than me. And it's not about that. It's not a competition. I'm not trying to say it that way. I just mean like lived experience is the most like invaluable thing. Like reading books, watching videos is incredible in educational purpose or in educational way, but nothing like there's nothing just like lived experience. And even if that is just, it doesn't have to be with like a trade or a craft or a skill. Of course it relates to that too, but I just mean like just literally just being alive for a certain amount of time. You just learn so much, and your body knows, your subconscious knows in ways that you can't even like articulate, but you just know. So old people know so much more than I do about certain things. They're also a lot more in their ways, some of them, not all of them. Everybody's different, but like the experience of aging is just precious. It's like treasure. That's why I'm excited to keep getting older. Um but yeah, what is it like to get older? It's bizarre. It's really weird. I think like how the fuck have I been alive for so long? And then I think how the fuck can I live for so much longer? Yet still, how does every year feel so much faster than the last? I guess that's because like when you divide it up, you know, every year is just another one lived. How do I word this? Like when you're 1 year old, 1 year is your whole life. When you're 2, 1 year is half your life. When you're 3, 1 year is a third of your life. So a year does, relative to you and the clock inside of you, it's less and less. So I guess it makes sense that it goes faster, but like, god damn, it goes. I didn't expect to be able to recognize in real time how quickly a year can go. It's almost April right now, and it still feels weird for me to be in 2024. But yeah, aging is a very strange thing. But I have been enjoying it. I guess that's just life. Next question is, how often do you feel hypocrisy? Very, very often. And when I feel it, it's it's not usually in a shame way. It can be, and those can be the most like useful. Shame is a incredibly constructive emotion. Um, but I recognize my hypocrisies all the time, and I try to own up to when I do feel like a hypocrite, especially if it affects another person. Um, it's hard though. It's like sometimes your brain, or sometimes like, what am I trying to say? Sometimes you'll say something before thinking it out in a clear way. So I feel like that's kind of similar with hypocrisy. Like, I don't know. You learn that you're, oh fuck, I'm a hypocrite. I'm sorry. Um, but I think it is constructive, and there are extremes. Like the shame part of it. Um, but it can also be pretty minor. In the personal, strictly personal ways where it like doesn't actually even affect you that negatively, but you're just like, oh damn, like I'm doing something that maybe I was annoyed with someone else for. And often I think it's healthy to like, kind of chuckle at that and move on, but like remember it. And I think that will help, being irritated with people or what have you, whatever. But yeah, I feel hypocrisy often. It's not like hitting myself in the head like stupid, stupid, stupid. It's not like that. Um, I think it's just a part of like wanting to continue to be the best person I can be, the best version of myself, the version of myself that I'm most content with and proud of, and not to show, not to gloat or feel pride, but literally just to be the most comfortable with myself. Next question is, what is the most important thing in your life? I think I just want to say love. That's perpetually the most important thing. I feel that most with my girlfriend, Fee. Absolutely, she gives me that the most right now. But I don't want to limit that just to her. It's just love. Like, love is the most important thing. That's like, for everyone else too. Like, a romantic relationship is likely where you share the most love with another person. I think that's the most important thing ever. How could there be anything more important than that? Maybe like, in an existential way, trying to improve yourself. Um strictly within like your own personal guidelines. There's not like a blueprint on how to improve yourself, but self-discovery, um that could be up there too, but that's more like heady, like kind of up in the clouds, meditative, transcending. But love is, here. It's entirely present. It's an amazing, amazing, the most amazing, I think, capability that we have to feel. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, love. And also fee. Next question is, what is your motivation for staying alive? I think really just to experience, to continue to experience, to appreciate, not approve, appreciate the good and the bad. Just appreciating things, allowing things to happen. Or I mostly mean like the way that things are allowed to happen in this universe that we know. Just appreciating everything. Advancements in myself, advancements throughout all of history that we know. I don't ever have like FOMO. I never really have. But yeah, so like just experiencing. I'm not worried about, oh, I missed out on this time in history, or like, oh, I'm going to miss out on space exploration or whatever. I'm not I'm not pressed about that at all. Um because in the same way that, I am the oldest I've ever been right now, and that's always going to be true, we are the furthest along in history at this moment that we all are sharing at the same exact time. It's a nice thing to remember, and there are always things to experience. Whether I go and seek an experience out, it could be going to a show or going on a walk, or it could be me just sitting in my room and talking to myself. I've gone through a lot of different emotions just, sitting here and talking with myself and thinking and having my gears turn in my head. Um, that's an experience. It's not like tangible units again. To go back to that, it's like it's abstract. It's, yeah, life as I know it is just constantly like a morphing, swelling shape or color or feeling all at the same time. It's like I always think of um the first Xbox, the very first Xbox, when you powered it on, and it's like in that matrix looking kind of chamber, and it's just like a green ball that's like very quickly just whoosh, 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 kind of, I don't know, forming into something, but in a lot more calm way. I just think that that's like life, you know, always different, always different. Next question. What is the most recent lesson you've learned? Damn. Hmm. What I'm thinking of right now is like, I guess it's like it involves listening. Um it involves like um I only ever have my input, right? Like when I'm working something out with someone, like a partner or a friend, it's like, or a customer, like a patron at the bar, it's like I only ever have my input, and working together to do something involves two people. So I think just remembering that, and like I have to listen if I want to be listened to. And I'm good at that. I've always known that, but when it comes down to my emotions, I think, and maybe this is more specific to uh more intimate relationships. It could be partners or friends still, but like, just the level of closeness you have when I mean the closer you are to someone, like the more easy you are both able to hurt each other because you care so much and you're so vulnerable. So things, like the door to your heart is open, so of course like you're just more vulnerable. Um so if I'm feeling an emotion, right, and I'm like trying to explain that emotion, and I'm just like really channeling that and just kind of letting it pour out in the form of words. Um and I don't yell, I don't like speak over people, but I try to talk things through, but I have to be able to also do that back for the same person. If I expect them to listen to me, then I need to listen to them. And I've always known that, but it's just a lesson you learn again and again. It's very, very important to remember. My last question is, how often do you feel love? Fortunately, I feel love all the time. And I know part of that is because of what I give to the world and how I interact with it. With my love, I'm always leading with my love. And I have seen a lot of that come back to me all the time. And I'm very fortunate for that. I feel love very often, and I give love very often. I feel similar to kind of what I was saying just a minute ago with the last question. I guess it's just about reciprocation. Specifically, if I expect or if I want to feel something reciprocated, then I have to actually do that. I can't just want to feel love and not give it. I can't just like want to be heard and not listen. It's it's just about reciprocation. And I'm like such a solitary person, but life just involves other people. It just does. Other human, non-human, there's just life. The universe is alive. Yeah, good things to remember.